So there's like something I wanted to talk about. There's kind of a trend that I've seen um, just throughout my life. I've seen it with lifting and in other fields too, which is that you kind of reach like pivotal moments where you have to kind of make a decision of what to do, and what you choose to do in those decisions, in those moments, can be very formative. But I think a lot of powerlifting is about that, and it's about like coming to these moments where you have to make a choice um, of action, of doing something that you're afraid of and that's uncomfortable. And I'd say probably most people, like 90+% of people, 99% of people in those situations wouldn't act, and likely you wouldn't act too. So you'll come across a situation where you have something to do and it's scary or uncomfortable or very hard, and everything in you is telling you no, you don't want to do it. Everything is afraid or not ready or feels challenging, but you still have to go and do it. In that moment, you have to go and act. And if you are a person who does that, then you get to progress, and if you aren't, then you don't get to progress. And some people, I mean, even people that do this and do act in those situations, it's never easier. It never gets easier. And it's like a muscle. Like, you kind of have to train it. But the thing is that those moments that come where you have to make that tough decision or take that action in something that you're afraid of doing, but you've got to do, is like, those moments don't come super often. I'd say once a month, once every few weeks, or they like come periodically, and when it's up to you to like recognize them when they come, and act decisively when they come. Do the things that you're afraid of, and maybe not take risks or take serious risks, but at the same time, when it's time to act and do those things, you kind of do, and you have to go and do them. I think the sport of powerlifting helps with this a lot, because when you're going for a heavy squat or a heavy deadlift or a heavy bench, a lot of the time you are afraid, but you just have to go and do it. I don't know how other lifters do it. I can only really speak for myself. But for myself, like, I really have to just get out of my own head, like, let it go completely blank, and just kind of go for it. Go for the weight that I'm trying to hit, and then I either hit it or I don't. But it's important that I still go for it. And I think life is kind of the same way. You'll reach those moments where you're at that threshold, and there's something that you have to do that's like uncomfortable. And I'm talking about like the most difficult things that like you can't do, maybe you put off for months or years, and uncomfortable situations, or like moments that like you reach that threshold, and like, yeah, you have to act. And I think everyone in the world feels fear, but it's like acting despite it, and acting in those certain moments that really separates the people who succeed from the people who don't, the people who stand a chance of succeeding from the people who don't. Like, it helps your odds if you go and do these things that are difficult or uncomfortable or hard. So I think lifting is important for those reasons, because it builds character, but also because it teaches you to act in those moments where it's decisive or important that you do act. Most people don't act, but it's up to you to go. And in those moments where you're afraid, or it's uncomfortable, or it's very difficult, you just go and do the thing that you're supposed to, and go and act, even though you're terrified or feels extremely like hard and impossible. You go and do it, and as soon as you do it, then it becomes easy. And there's been a lot of years just I've been working on stuff, and like, that's never gone away. You always come with new moments like that, and it's always up to you at those moments to go and act.